Oh, you're just in time to get your heads cut off. The Horseman comes, and tonight he comes for you. Ha 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 ha! I'm Charles Retton with the retro review of Sleepy Hollow from director Tim Burton, a man that certainly has quite the eclectic view when it comes to filmmaking, quite the eclectic collection of films. That's really, really hard to say. Ranging back to the 80s all the way to now, the man certainly has a strange vision when it comes to bringing his particular brand of filmmaking to life. I mean, seriously, the man has such a stylish way of filming things, such a stylish way of writing, such a stylish way of bringing out the best and worst, and also sometimes the worst of particular subject matters. Sweeney Todd, the Planet of the Apes remake in 2001 that we don't particularly talk about, but man, Edward Scissorhands, the last film of Vincent Price's career, and also Batman and Batman Returns. The man is certainly goddamn terrific. When he is great, he is so goddamn incredible. I love me a Tim Burton film, and that's certainly why I love Sleepy Hollow. Also, the man has quite an eclectic collection of hair. I mean, him and Helena Bonham Carter basically must have gone to the same barber. Not Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street, but no, or Fleet Street or Cutting Street or whatever. Basically, it was about a killer barber. Oh, a killer barber. Then we get this bloody man. We get cutting on the screen and some blood splattering all over the black and white. I don't really know why I decided to break out in a song right there, but Sleepy Hollow is one of my favorite Tim Burton movies because it still holds up. It's so great. It's just great from beginning to end. Okay, yes, it has Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane, and recent stuff with Johnny Depp might taint his career, and boy, do I mean taint, but man's a hell of an actor. And thinking back to how I felt when this movie came out, there's such a great cast below him that such a great collection of actors. I mean, young and old. This is also written by Andrew Kevin Walker, a name that sounds way too snooty to be involved in a film like this. He wrote Seven, or Sevenin, because there was a 7 in the middle instead of the V. Brain Scan and 8mm, and also Kevin Yeager, who has done makeup effects for various films. And yes, Johnny Depp is in this. Christina Ricci, 19-year-old me, loved 19-year-old Christina Ricci. And also, 42-year-old me appreciates the goddess as she has become. She looks tremendous. Saw her in a movie called Monstrous recently. She's goddamn great. I love me some Christina Ricci. What a great actress she is. And also, Miranda Richardson, whatever happened to her? I mean, she's been in some good stuff, but I mean, it just doesn't seem like she's been in a lot of peak stuff lately. Michael Gambon was in this, and also Casper Van Dien. Why wasn't Casper Van Dien a bigger star? I mean, I know he's still in stuff, but Starship Troopers seemed like it was going to launch him into superstardom, and he was good here. It just seems like he could have been more. And then Jeffrey Jones, Richard Griffith, Ian McDiamond, Michael Goff, or Goff, however the hell you say that, Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee must have been, born creepy because he just did creepy so goddamn well. And Christopher Walken as the titular Horseman. Yes, because it's about the Headless Horseman. And it's based on the the playwright, or rather story, by Washington Irving. Irving is my name, and Washington is my game. I don't know why I did that. It's very, very washed out as far as it looks, so the blood splatters mean even more, but it's taking place in 1799. Ichabod Crane uses science and reasoning, wants to go into the 19th century with better ways to deal with prisoners and solve crimes properly instead of just automatically accusing people. Use science, reasoning, all that jazz, and Christopher Lee decides to lord over him. Sleepy Hollow, have you heard of it? I have not. Well, there's been a bunch of people killed within a fortnight. Each one with their head severed from their body. You will go down there and you will figure out what's going on. Will you do this? I shall. I'm sorry for trying to do the British accent and failing miserably. I love me some Christopher Lee. But anyway, yeah, Ichabod Crane goes there, goes to Sleepy Hollow. The effects are great. The cinematography is beautiful. It's just so well paced. Yeah, the story's simple. Of course it's simple. You hear about the origins of the Horseman, and you see that automatically Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci have a bit of a, romance, a blossoming romance. Bear in mind, though, that while filming, I believe Christina Ricci was between 18 and 19 years old, because she was born about a year before I was. And that's kind of gross when you think about how old Johnny Depp was. I mean, I know that he wasn't, ancient back in 1999, but still... Especially reading up more about Johnny Depp. That being said, the Horseman was not a Hennessy mercenary, a Hessian mercenary. And Walken was just having a blast here. Yeah, just doing all that. If you've seen the movie, you'll get it. He did run into two young girls after his escapades, and his horse got shot. And one of the girls accidentally snapped a stick, so he killed a bunch of people, but then got stabbed. His head got cut off by his own sword, and they buried him in a pit, and then planted a sword there, and then somehow a tree grew. Because that's usually what happens when you plant the body of an evil son of a bitch. His head was also, since his head was detached from his body, though, that plays in a little bit. The Horseman has been making appearances and doing a whole bunch of stuff, and oh my god, it's crazy. The Horseman is killing indiscriminately. No, he's not. He's not killing indiscriminately. You know that. You would know that if you have seen, a movie at least once in your life, or been outside for more than 5 fucking minutes. But it's tense, atmospheric, visually striking as fuck, really, really great, and still holds up so tremendously well. Visually impressive. I love it. He did say at one point when somebody had their head removed, he said to the people, "Did you move the body?" "Yes, you should never move the body." "Why?" "Because." And he's a scientist, a squeamish of blood and bugs that crawl in wounds and stuff like that. He keeps trying to figure out what's going on. This one father got killed by the name of Masbeth, and so the son wants to join Ichabod Crane on his mission. And then the woman that played his mother was an actress named Lisa Marie Smith, I believe. She was 31 when this movie came out, looked about 20, just want to say. She's 54 and looks maybe 30, 35 at the most. She found the fountain of youth, as it were. And the father, by the way, was a miserable piece of shit that, was very old school. And if, you're acting weird or you're acting feverish, you are into witchcraft. Wicked witchcraft. And Christina Ricci says something that kind of implied how much incest there was going on in the old world. There is hardly a household in Sleepy Hollow that isn't connected to every other by blood or marriage. Anyway, then she hands him a book about, she hands him a book like as far to protect yourself. Take a look. It's in the book. Ichabod a Rainbow. That didn't make any sense. So he basically ends up witnessing the Horseman. He dismisses the Horseman actually being legit until he sees it. And the guy that played Harry Potter's uncle, the fat guy, as Riff Trax said, got his head cut off. And he's like, a horseman, headless, it's all true. I know, that's why you're here. And then him and the young Masbeth find this woman there, where like, oh my god, something really, really is scared in this cave. And it turns out she's all in the Wiccan stuff. And she's a woman that has a shroud over her. And I'm just going to spoil it because fuck you, the movie's 24 years old almost. It's the other sister. And the sister that is controlling the Horseman, by the way, is played by Miranda Richardson. Why? You find out a little bit later. But she, takes over, does a seance thing. It's like, follow the trail till the sun dies and find the tree of the dead and dig to find the Horseman's grave. And Katrina, Christina Ricci's character, joins, and again, from this point, I had from 1999 to now, I've had such a crush on Christina Ricci, who's just tremendous. You can just see how much she's grown from movies like this. I mean, yes, she was a great child prodigy in the Addams Family movies, but just seeing her and stuff like this and just growing from where she has, I wish she would get meteor roles. And I don't mean roles where she has to take out meteors like she's in Armageddon. I just wish she would get meteor roles. So the tree of death does drip blood. He's chopping it away. The blood's splattering on him, and because of the washed out black and almost pseudo black and white sooty feel, it just, all that... And all those heads are there, more like tree of heads. I tried. I really tried here, folks. Who's the Horseman being summoned by? I just told you, by Miranda Richardson's character, and we find out why a little bit later. Casper Van Dien, he says, okay, that night I'm going to attack him with these small scythes. And even though he's not being targeted by the Horseman. But they say, Casper, we're going to write you out here. Okay, give me a cool death. And they do that, and he gets split in half. It was a pretty cool death, actually. Pretty much the CGI, every bit of the shit holds up because Tim Burton put thought, care, and love into his movies at this time. And then, he... basically, Ichabod's character ends up, kind of going a little bit off. He had gotten stabbed just before Casper Van Dien had been dispatched, so he had a bit of a fever. The only prescription is more cowbell. I mean, come on. Christopher Walken thing had to work that in. And Christina Ricci's kind of into witchy craft stuff. She does some symbols on the ground. And there's an evil eye under the bed, except it's not an evil eye. It's actually a protection spell. We don't find that out until a little bit later. Lady Vaughn was in the woods picking some stuff, and the Horseman shows up, but Baltus, who's the father, by the way. Baltus, what a weird name. Not Baldo, the animated dog, but Baltus. He Baltus over to the church where everybody decides we're going to hole up here because we can't be near the Headless Horseman. And the Horseman cannot enter. But then, through all the madness, Baltus is sick of people accusing him of all this stuff. All this stuff's going on. Michael Gough, by the way, had a little scene a little bit earlier on. That's Alfred the Butler in the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Batman movies, by the way, just for anybody that doesn't know. And he was also terrific in other movies, but that's what he's most known for to a mainstream audience. He comes up with all this, like, oh, all this bad stuff happened or whatever. We were locked into this plot, and then Baltus got accused. But then Katrina is like, you're not going to accuse my father of something. He actually didn't do this, and of course he didn't, but it was somebody close to the family. They're back in the church, by the way. Baltus gets upset because one guy's going to confess something. He gets hit in the head with a cross, and he's busted open and dead. And then another guy gets killed. He gets shot. And then he's like, there is a traitor among us, and I will seek him out. And then, because the Horseman's weapons can't cross, he has rope, which I assume he grabbed from somewhere, and it wasn't unholy rope, because he grabbed one of the church fence spikes, and threw it, and speared Baltus and pulled him through the window, which that was an incredible, scene right there. Gets him between the fence posts and then cuts his head off. And he keeps collecting the heads until his head is returned. And then it turns out the Lady Vaughn, or Lady Van rather, is actually, the person in charge of the Horseman. I've been summoning the Horseman, Katrina, because what happened is your family took over my house and we were kicked out when we had served this family very, very well, and you lived in our house. We were cast out to the woods. I saw the Horseman killed, and I decided I'm going to have my revenge one day. Ha 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 ha! So yes, there was also a dead body at one point that they thought was Lady Van, but it wasn't. It was the servant girl, and he realizes this. He being Ichabod, when he suddenly has a coach turn around, checks the body, and the hand wound from a tryst that Miranda Richardson had with one of the guys. Have fun on seeing that, though at that point, really, she looked goddamn good and was probably close to her 50s. But doing this, she had that cut on her hand. Well, he checked the cut on the hand, there's no clotting, so this was done after this woman was dead. And then she basically reveals that she is going to sacrifice Katrina to get the fortune. Then the Horseman shows up, and everybody has to escape. The windmill gets caught on fire. The Headless Horseman chases him into the woods, is about to get him. Miranda Richardson gets knocked out, and the Horseman's about to decapitate Katrina because he's still under Miranda Richardson's control. It says, Horseman, and throws the skull, and he catches the skull, and then Christopher Walken takes Miranda Richardson and goes back into the underworld. And then everybody else goes back off to New York. By everybody else, I mean Ichabod, Katrina, and young Mazbeth. We never got a Sleepy Hollow 2, probably because there wasn't anything else to solve in Sleepy Hollow. But what we got was a hell of a goddamn visual treat with a lot of fun. just, maybe try to pay attention to everybody else except Johnny Depp, because some stuff from his career hasn't aged all that well. That being said, this was a terrific goddamn movie. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm Charles Ritlin. I'll see you soon.